Hi guys, it's Shay from Shay's Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. Today I have 5 dinner ideas to share with you guys. And I'm gonna go ahead and warn you, the first one was an absolute dud, but I wanted to show you guys anyway because I'm not perfect. I still have meals that don't come out as planned, so I still threw it in there for you. But I will give you a hint, it is involving the air fryer. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump into the video and show you guys these 5 dinner ideas. First up are just regular chicken tenders. I wanted to try it out in my air fryer just to see if I could, just fry something the same way in the air fryer. But basically, I'm just putting here some coconut aminos, splash of hot sauce. Here I'm just adding some actual salt, some kosher salt, and some black pepper. Then I'm gonna hit it with just some paprika and then some Flavor God everything seasoning, which is basically just seasoned salt. So whatever you have, you can use. And then last, I'm going to actually use some granulated garlic, or if you have garlic powder, that will be just as good. So you just wanna go in with your hands after adding all your seasoning and give it a really, really good stir, mesh, whatever. Just get in there and make sure all the seasoning is covering all of your chicken pieces. Now I'm just going to drop them into a brown paper bag that has some seasoned flour, and it's all the same seasonings that I used on the chicken. I just put it in the flour, and you just toss it around. This is the Southern way and how we do it down here in the South, and the way that I was raised to do it. But after you shake it really good, just go ahead and drop those pieces into your air fryer. I think I put about 6 pieces in, and then you just want to fry it. Now here I have already let it cook halfway, and as you can see, it looks a hot mess. I tried to save it with just some Pam coconut spray, but it didn't work. As you can see, when I pull it out, it just looks a hot freaking mess, you guys. I served it anyway to my kids, and they didn't put up too much of a fuss because they said it actually tastes good. It was just powdery. I just gave them extra tater tots and broccoli. So second up, we just have some drummies in the air fryer. As you can see, I am really doing it up with the air fryer because it is new and I just want to try it out. But I just have some drumsticks and I'm just seasoning them with some iodized salt. It's just easier for me to control it and get it really, really seasoned with the chicken legs here. And then I'm just going in with some paprika. And then next I'm gonna hit it with some lemon pepper seasoning. I just made sure that all the chicken was coated well and dropped those in the air fryer. Cooked them for about 25 minutes on 380 degrees. So after you let that cook halfway through, just flip it and they should be really, really crispy. My kids really, really enjoyed these and they were really, really, really good. So I will probably be doing these very shortly again because they were such a hit. Now after they're done, you can serve them with anything, but I chose to serve mine with just a side of rice and a side of broccoli. Next up, we're going to be making this delicious meal here, which is just beef and broccoli. I'll actually provide a link below to the recipe that I followed. So to start, you just want to cut up your beef into very thin strips, and I'm using a flat iron cut of meat. And this is something that I received in my butcher box. I've never used it before, but I was pretty impressed with it. But just make sure you cut it thin and you pull it apart completely. So now you want to move on to your marinade, which is just some coconut aminos, some ginger, some ground ginger, and some minced garlic. So give it a good swirl and then dump it over your chicken. Sorry, not your chicken, but over your thin cuts of beef that you've already pulled apart. Next, you just want to add some salt and some pepper for seasoning, and you can completely eliminate this if you actually use soy sauce, because you do have an option just to substitute that soy sauce for the coconut aminos. So now you just want to actually go in with your hands to give it a really, really good mixing. You just want to make sure that that marinade is covering all of the beef. Now cover it with just some saran wrap and put it in the fridge to marinate for at least 2 hours. Over 2 hours is best, but if you're pressed for time, 2 hours will be good. Now, when the actual beef is almost done marinating, go ahead and move on to baking your broccoli. I have just here a pot of water that is boiling, and I've just used some salt to season it. And I've dumped in just my broccoli florets, and I opted to use fresh broccoli as opposed to my normal frozen broccoli that I always use. That's because I did not want a lot of excess water cooking out of my broccoli when I added it to my pot. So here I'm just actually dumping the drained broccoli out just on some paper towels. I am still just trying to get the excess water out because I don't want anything to be steaming in a lot of water that's cooking out of that broccoli, if you know what I'm saying. So now you just want to get a skillet and melt some coconut oil or whatever kind of oil that you have on hand. Here's the thing, guys, you want to make sure that that skillet is really, really hot, because now we're going to go in and we're going to drop each individual piece of cut beef into that hot skillet, because it's going to cook really, really fast, and you don't want to overcook it because you don't want your beef to be tough. So please, please, please make sure that skillet is hot before you start dropping the meat into it. Now it should only take about a minute to a minute and a half at the most, guys, for it to cook on the first side. And then once it has done so, you just want to go in and flip it and cook it on the other side, and for another probably about 30 to 45 seconds. Literally, we're not trying to make this beef really, really tough. Now, you have to do this in batches because obviously you can't put all of that in once. So take your time doing that. And after you're done, just go ahead and dump that broccoli right into the drippings that you were cooking the actual beef in. And then now you want to actually pour the marinade. I actually made 2 batches of that marinade. This is the second batch. And after I add this beef in, I'm just going to add over that marinade, and I'm going to just stir everything together. It's not really stirring, but just kind of folding the mixture around just to make sure that that marinade is coating the broccoli as well as the remainder of the beef. So after it's done, I'm just plating it up with some rice. You can use whatever you want, but I had leftover rice, so that's what we ate it with. Now this was the star of the week, guys. This is a cheesy tacos and shells mixture. I'll also put the link to the recipe down below. But first you want to just start off with browning some ground beef. And now after the beef has browned, you just want to add some taco seasoning. You can make homemade, but I actually had some pre-made taco seasoning in bulk in my cabinet, so that's what I use. So now I'm just making sure that it's fully incorporated in all of the beef. And now I'm adding a can of Rotel. This is the original. The original is hotter than the mild. So if any of you guys didn't know that, then that's just a little tip for you there. So just fold in that Rotel. And then next you want to actually add in some tomato sauce. So I use an actual full can of tomato sauce. And you just want to make sure that you mix this in really, really well. Just fold and fold and fold along until it's fully incorporated. And at this point, you just want to add some pepper and then taste it. Taste it to see if the seasoning is what you want. If it isn't, then you can add additional taco seasoning. And if it is good, then you should be good to go. But here I'm just adding a little extra because I thought it needed just a little bit more because I did have a good amount of beef here. So on the side, I've already boiled my shells, and these are just jumbo shells. And I'm actually just ladling in the shells and turning and folding it in until I've gotten as many shells as I possibly can stuffed into the skillet and with the meat. Now here comes the good stuff. I've grated some sharp cheddar, and now I'm actually just going to go ahead and throw this into the pot and just start folding it in. And I think I did half of this 2-pound block. I'll double check that for you guys, but you just want to fold this in and fold it in and fold it in until it's really, really, really creamy. Not done. I mean, it's already done, but not like stuff it with the cheese, but stuff it until it's really, really creamy. And then the excess cheese, just put it on the top and cover it just long enough for it to melt. Now, you just let it cook for maybe about 5 more minutes and then serve it up with your veggie of choice. And my last meal for the week is just mandarin orange chicken from Trader Joe's. So I literally dumped the chicken out of the bag into the air fryer, crisped it up, and then dumped the chicken into the sauce that comes with it that I have heated over the stove. And I'm gonna just give it a really good toss around just to make sure that that sauce covers all of that chicken. And then I'm gonna serve it up with some leftover rice and some leftover broccoli from earlier in the week. All right, so that'll do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please remember to leave any comments down below. Also, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, as well as the notification bell. I would love for you to be a part of my YouTube community here. And while you're at it, follow me over on my Instagram at Shay's Country Kitchen. I'll see you guys soon.